Also, all right, so we're looking at the FHU Social Club app. I realized that I made a mistake in my AppWriteService. I just pushed it up, but I think last time I wrote, at the very end of class, I wrote a getMembers function in AppWrite that actually does the database interaction. Remember this? So it does tables.listRows, and then the key is key. It's like a database pun. The important thing here, the thing that's interesting, is the queries, and I'm querying by club. Something that you might also want to do, I realized yesterday, it might be helpful to say query dot order ascending and get them in ascending order of last name. And here you have to put the name of a column. If there's a reasonable order that you want them in, you could, if by doing it here, you're asking the back end to put them in the right order. By default, databases usually return stuff in the order that they were added, which might be a kind of jumbled up order. You with me? You could also sort them on the front end, but in this case, like why? We have a fine default. Does that make sense? So this is an AppWrite in the getMembers function that I wrote last time, which is already getting members by club. So that almost to me makes me think this should be named getMembers by club. I don't know if there's ever a situation when you would want to show everybody. It doesn't seem like it. If there were, then we could make a different function that just gets them all. But okay, so this is a function. I believe this works. Didn't I use this? I can't remember if I used it or not. I must not have used it because the next thing will break it. So this is the thing. It only exists in AppWrite. If we want it to be usable outside of AppWrite, then at the bottom here, I've got to return that function. I had forgotten this last time, which would have made it inaccessible, which did make it inaccessible. And luckily, Claude, when I said assess my code, Claude was like, this is a critical error. You don't export this thing. Kind of share it. Okay. Does this make sense? So now it will be the case that anywhere where I have an AppWriteService, I have a .getMembers, which you should be able to just call and getMembers, hover over it and see. It returns a promise of an array of row members or null. How does it return null? I don't know. That may not be the best. Remember, when you see this pattern where the return type of a function is promise and then it's generic in some actual data types, that essentially means that you need to await that function, because what it actually returns is a promise. Have we talked about promises a little bit? The idea of a promise is it's an object that represents there's some work going on that'll eventually be resolved, but it's not resolved right now. And when it is resolved, then the rest of your code that comes after the resolution of the promise will be executed. That all kind of gets hidden from us, which is nice, where you just say await and then write code after that line, and it doesn't run until after the thing is resolved, after the promise is resolved, and you have the results. Okay. So if you wanted to get the members somewhere, you would need an AppWriteService, and you would need to call getMembers. The thing I was torn on last time was it would be easy to put this in the auth context, and then anywhere in our app, we could just call getMembers if we added a getMembers function to the context. It bothers me to put something that's not at all related to auth in auth context. So Emily, are you saying you would like to know how to call getMembers? Or maybe let what are your questions? What's your number one biggest struggle right now? Okay. Okay. Do you have getMembers here? And do you have getMembers defined? And do you have you set the permissions on your table so that everybody can read and or users can read? Yes? Okay, so maybe to complete this then, let me see, what do I have, like an Explorer or something? I have a 2. Okay. I'm going to use this 2, which was like nothing, as a place to put that. I mean, really, I think you'd want this to be a flat list. A flat list is annoying. It's hard for me to remember what all you put in a flat list. Do you remember? Like, what's the bare minimum? You need a key, probably, and you need a data. Key extractor, that's a function. So I don't need key. Render item, which that's a function, right? And can it take in, can I write an arrow function here and write gem.jsx that does this? And this should probably take in like this current item or something, right? Which we actually know it's not just an item, this is going to be a member, right? Okay, and so for my data, I'm going to put it in something called members. You okay with that? And my key extractor, is that also a function? Is it like this, where I say member arrow, and then in here, member dot, don't we have IDs? We've got IDs, so probably an ID would be better. Okay, so now let's do the hard part. So in this, I need to instantiate, it's not really instantiating, because there's only ever one instance of the AppWriteService. So I want to create one of those. So I want to say const AppWriteService is equal to, and then it's like create AppWriteService. And I have to pass in the AppWrite config. Where do you get that from? Okay, I can't remember how I did this, so I know that I must have done this in auth context. So I'm going to go to auth context and see how I did it, because that's the other place I used it. Here it is. Here it is. No, that's not it. My bad. Hang on. Here it is. Where does that come from? AppWrite config. Is it in here? No, it's in lib AppWrite. Okay. So if I put that in like that, right? This thing is coming in from here. So now I have an AppWriteService. You with me so far? And I think I need to have a use effect so that I do this on load. How do you do use effect? Use effect means I put in function and the dependencies. And I would say probably this is dependent on the AppWriteService object. And that's pretty generous because basically I don't think this thing shouldn't change. Only, hang on, let me check this. I think probably for performance reasons, I shouldn't declare it that way. That should probably be like a, yeah, a use memo should be wrapped around that. So that way, like basically, I don't need to recreate this every time. This is a performance thing, but I want to use memo. Hang on. Do you have my code? Sorry, this is still new and weird to me. So I can say const AppWriteService equals use memo, arrow function, call the line that I want to call, and then say basically it doesn't change. That's the dependencies. So this is this, and then that, and the way that I do it is actually calling that. Why is this mad at me? Because I can't. I have to import use memo. So calling it. So this is like the right way to create this AppWriteService object because it doesn't actually change every time you re-render. You'd like to keep the same one. Okay. So in here on this use effect, I would like to say I have some members, and members need to be state because initially they're going to be nothing, and then they're going to get loaded in, and we want the UI to update when that happens, right? Hang on, this is annoying me. Okay, so I need some state as well. Can I put my state up here? So I'm going to say const members and set members. Remember this pattern is equal to a use state. And what's the data type of this thing? It should be, what was that? This is actually the data that I'm going to get back. So it's going to be what was inside the promise, which is a member. It's a member row array. And it could be null, because that's what I'm going to set it initially. Why is this mad at me? Because it didn't, okay. Clearly comes from React. Come on, VS Code. So I'm saying what the data type is of these two variables, this variable, members. Hey, Robert, good to see you. So now I have some state. So it's going to be null, but I'm going to load it by calling my getMembers function from the AppWriteService and put it in here. So I know on the whole, most of the work I'm doing here is just stupid React. And to me, not even doing the logic. Because the main thing I want to do, which I guess needs to be in here, while my use effect, is just say, basically, that I want to set members to be whatever getMembers is. Yeah? Can I do that in one step? I can do it in two. Members is equal to the AppWriteService dot get members, and that needs to be awaited, which, oh, I have to pass in the club. Okay, come back to that. Also, this needs to be async, doesn't it? Because this is an async function. Why is this mad at me? I've seen this pattern before. What is it? In order to have an async use effect, you have to like jump through some hoops, right? Did I do it in here? No? What? How did I have any use effects in here? Was it not in here? It was this pattern, wasn't it? So the use effect doesn't look like it's async because it calls another function that is async. That's weird. Is that what we have to do? This is what this is saying, right? Argument of type promise void is not assignable to, yeah. Okay, so what if I say something like const load members is equal to use callback. Use callback takes a function and dependencies. So in this case, the function is an async function that calls await.getMembers. Go ahead and save it there. And then I want to return members. This is mad because I have to pass in the club here. So you need to get that out of the currently logged in user. And I think we already did that. So I'm going to fake it by hard coding it and let you at least do that part. So now I have this use callback. Why isn't it? Oh, I didn't return the dependencies. And I think, hang on, let me double check. Where did I do that? The dependency is just the function itself. So if that function changes, then we need to change the callback. I think this is the pattern. Right. Wait. What? No, that's the use effect. This is like what this is. This use callback. Yeah. The use callback is dependent on the AppWriteService. If the AppWriteService changes, then we do need to recreate this function. Okay. Now in our use effect, we don't have async. And apparently we can now just say load members. And it's dependent on just load members. I know that is very convoluted. And this is the React way to avoid all its unnecessary re-renders. But I think this is, you see this pattern, because use effect can't take an async function, then we've got to create this callback that wraps an async function, and then we can pass it in. Maybe there's a better way of doing this. Oh, and then, let's see. Yes, good call. So we've got it here. I actually don't want to, I should probably set the state here. So I'm going to set members to members. Good call. That would not have worked. All right, and why is this mad at me? Because what? I mean, I didn't put anything here. So can I just like say, there's the text, and the text is the member dot doesn't it know what this is? Item dot, okay, there it is. Member dot item. Why is this mad at me? Does text have to have something? Oh. No. Why would I do that? Why would I import a thing I don't want to use? Thanks, Emily. Okay, so let's see if I can get first name, last name. It's still mad at me. Why is this mad at me? No overload matches this. This is me not remembering how to use a list render item. Not remembering how to use this. Do I have to return this or something? Is that this? Nope. Oh, oh, where's red? And another one. No. Did you fix it though? Really? Am I wrong with key extractor? Type void is not assignable to string. Type member colon row member to void is not assignable to type item member row index number string. I have a data type mismatch, and which one is it on? Anybody see my flat list error? Is it? Does the key have to be an int? Key extractor item. What is it? The expected type comes from property key extractor, which is declared here. Do I need to return this? Oh. Okay, I think maybe here I needed to return this. Is that what's, that seems like it fixed one thing. And now my issue is just in render item where it says member list render item info in member row to void is not assignable to. What did I do? I accidentally closed Chrome instead of switching tabs. That's cool. The render item takes in an item. Is that my problem? Wait, is it called item? Is that the problem? That's just extracting out the item. Data, render item, key extractor, extract data. What's that mean? Oh, if you put it on the next line, if you put it on one line, you don't have to have the return statement. See how that's a little cleaner. Oh, you see what I'm doing wrong. I need a return statement, I think. If I don't have it on one line, I have to put in a return statement. That's the whole deal. Ugh. React. Nice. That isn't working at all. Will you give me something? Wheel. But I'm doing something wrong in this loading thing. Okay. Oh, wait. What's that? Huh? I feel like that's equivalent. I think maybe I'm doing something wrong with my loading. So I'm calling this use effect, calling load members. Wait. I didn't put parentheses here to actually call the function. This is when I call the function. Those are the people. Why are their names there twice? Oh, because their first name and last name are, my date is bad. Robert. Oh, that's their first names. Did I put first name twice? Yes. So this should only really work with Robert Smith. Because it put full first name, last names for them. So it's that simple. It's that simple. Emily, how you feeling? Is it working? Okay, that's tricky. So I did a use memo, arrow function to do this, and its dependencies are nothing. Yeah. So you have an AppWriteService. I guess technically it's a no, it's just AppWriteService object. Yeah. No. What does it matter about? I mean, I had to import AppWriteConfig, create AppWriteService, and member row from @lib AppWrite. You got that? Okay, we got load members. Is getMembers load members? Okay, let's go to the AppWriteService. Do you have a getMembers function? And go to the bottom. Do you export it or return it in that? Okay. Go to the. Do you have this line? I don't know if you brought in my code that says return type of create AppWriteService. You have that. That's right. This was really tricky. So this is a way of saying create a new type. Normally when we write types, we write it out like this. Yeah. This is very clever. Claude taught me this. This return type magically says, I'll create a new type based on the shape of this thing, based on whatever whatever this function returns. So this is cool because now I have something called AppWriteService, and if I change what the create AppWriteService returns, which I did because I added another getMembers, where getMembers is a function that has a club string and it returns a promise of member row, array, or null, which is like would have been a lot to type out. It just automatically updates because this is automatically extracting the type. So now anywhere we call AppWriteService, anywhere we use that, it's automatically updated everywhere in sync. Are you getting red squiggles, or is it just not working? Okay. Are there other questions? Can I see your red squiggles? This getMembers needs to be inside. Wait, it isn't. Okay. So what else do y'all have? It's that is annoying. I believe that is now saying there's this JavaScript shorthand. So this is what we're looking at. This is tricky. If you put curlies around here, then it executes that line of code. Which it just executes, but it doesn't return anything because you don't have a return statement. The shorthand, though, if you do that, if you don't have curlies and you have one line, then it implicitly returns the result of that. Did it fix it? Booyah. Those are your people, right? All right. Very tricky. That return thing was getting me too. Okay. Questions? Almost makes me want to just always write the return, because that got me a couple times here too. So the vision is that we have 3 screens, a home screen that has events, a directory screen that has people, and a profile screen that shows your information. The profile screen is a lot like this. The events are public, so they're not club specific, so you can just get all of them. Once you've done all this work to create an AppWriteService and then to load the things, right, on the events page, then you should be able to say AppWriteService.getEvents and get those, and then put those in some state where that state drives the UI. Yeah. So what's the state? What do you need to be successful in finishing this project? I can't take by that silence, like that you're just dead and over it, or is it like, no, I'm good? It could be either one. Which one is it? I should have expected silence to that question. That was on me. That was on me. My bad. I feel like I didn't record one day. Whatever day Robert wasn't here, was that Monday? Oh, okay. There was a day that I didn't record, but I think it was only one. Uh, the good news, in my opinion, is now all of my improvements are here, and you could build off of them. Is that good news, Robert? Okay, so what did I do here? I think primarily I did a like integrated the get event into two. So this guy, you're welcome to utilize this code, especially the hook, well, especially what's in AppWrite, what's under lib. And that looks like an example of, my bad, I did that wrong. I should have said members. That was getMembers, not getEvents. Can I change a commit message? I wouldn't think you could do that. Hmm. Ugh. Ugh. Good. I've never done that before. Nope. Okay, so as we close, I will say, give me some sort of verbal feedback on how it's going on this social club app. Dylan?
Another terrible issue that I have to.
Okay. Mark? Not great. Okay. Is he? Tyson? Robert? Okay. Emily? The database queries or this query in the UI? Search for what? So as soon as for any searching that happens in the app, that's just a UI update. So we're going to do that however you did it before, which means you're just filtering members from the state. I think we went through an example of that before. You know what I'm saying? Like all that's happening in your app that doesn't touch AppWrite. Whatever this user is filtering doesn't go to the AppWrite. Caleb? Okay. And Ella? Okay. Well, I'm going to be completely upfront with you that I learned a lot by working with AI to do this. And I'm okay for you to do that as well, but I want to emphasize the learning part where I really did learn by saying, what's wrong with this code? And then I didn't just copy paste, but like really tried to figure out what did it do and how did it do it. And then I did actually then come back at the end and say, what's wrong with this code again? And it offers some cleanup stuff that has made this way more professional and cleaner than I would have made it with my really limited knowledge of React. Like all this stuff with use memo and use callback that are going to help with performance. So like I would fully encourage you to embrace AI to help with that kind of cleanup stuff, which to me is the most frustrating, fine-grained weirdnesses of React. But understanding the basic concepts, I think, is definitely within your grasp. And if you're not getting that, then what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I want you to be able to say you made a thing because you understood some significant parts of React to do it. Okay, so I guess for Friday, we will be enjoying Mark and Izzy's videos. And, oh, yes. Additionally, I would like to give you the overview of what I want for us to do on this final FHU Dining Dashboard project, the FHUDD, food. We could pronounce it food. Dylan gets it, FHUDD. Thanks, Caleb. Here all week. Come back for more of that kind of content. I'm thinking that I think we've done most of this before, so maybe it's not that bad, but it's definitely not that bad. We've done most of this before. And now I'm going to give you a hook that loads the data from the website. We will get to experiment with local storage if you haven't done that already to save the username and password. So that way, even if you close the app and reopen it, the user can their credentials are still saved. They don't have to enter it again. I'm thinking we have a home screen, which is what y'all designed before with the main metrics. I'm thinking it's at least 2 things, could be up to 4. I don't know if I'm missing one, but meal swipes remaining, money remaining, Lion Bucks remaining, and guest swipes. And then I have recent transactions are now being scraped off the page, just the most recent 10 or whatever. So the new screen that I'm asking for that will probably be the biggest amount of new work is showing those transactions. It's only going to ever be 10, but you could still probably put them in a flat list and make them good looking. We had a UI that ChatGPT made, actually. So you might be able to integrate it into something like that. And then definitely a profile screen. In this case, it's just going to show their username, password, and a log out button. I don't think we actually know that much more about them based on this terrible, terrible website. I guess we could extract their name. I guess I could extract their MPA 14 weekly DD 150. It is 175. That is actually like their meal plan, right? There's probably only a certain number of these, right? MPA 14 means you get 14 meals a week. I might add that. Do you ever see this anywhere else? Is this just code that's in the system? Okay. Well, no, you guys got to get out of here. If y'all could log in and can you send me a screenshot of your screen? That would be really helpful for me so that I can make sure that whatever I write works for everybody and not just for Dylan's. So I'll write some more code to extract this, like the meal plan information. Well, I guess, but not you. You're off the hook because you're married.